bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough and it seems like your best ain't good enough, if you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for
you. This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Okay, here I am, but I am a little hidden right now. There we go. You know, it's just becoming a little bit more technical to be a part of this classroom, but I'm so grateful that we are part of the classroom today. And I am trying to start my, what do you call it? My Telegram account, but I'm just going to keep going. Telegram or not. Robert, if you can start your Telegram, I don't know if you could do it, but if you can just take my phone and get it started for me, I just don't know what to do here. But hello, my listening and viewing friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are tuning into the classroom, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide natural ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friend, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. So, as we move towards Father's Day, and you know, I just did a show or a class on Father's Day not too long ago that here you go. he's so great. Just take it. Just take that phone. Anyway, just recently we did a class on Fatherhood University or something I think that's called Fatherhood University. And it was really wonderful to see a man who was going through a new chapter in his life and created something different and new because he felt he didn't have the tools that he needed to be the best father he could be. And as we go into an event or a weekend such as Father's Day or Mother's Day, a time where we come together, it could actually trigger some wounds to some people. And although I have been very lucky and I've had a wonderful experience with my family. And I could say that because I choose to say that. I could say that because although nobody is perfect, my parents weren't perfect, I am not perfect, and my children will probably not be perfect in parenting. We don't have a manual. And unfortunately, some parents are so self-absorbed that we as children develop some coping skills that are to help us survive and even sometimes thrive. And so today I want to talk about that. I want to talk about these wounds that are getting re-injured or triggered when, even if it's something totally unrelated, maybe you're a people pleaser, maybe you think you do better than everybody else, you have this feeling of grandeur, or maybe you don't even acknowledge what you do as good and you're constantly pushing yourself down. That could be a symptom of having a childhood where you were neglected, whether it was emotionally, physically, spiritually. There's some form of neglect. So I thought, as we're going in to Father's Day weekend, which is a great celebration for me, we love to celebrate my husband, my father, and my in-laws, my son-in-law, son-in-loves, because we have more than one. And I just wanted to maybe address those wounds that just won't heal. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am here to do just that. Dr. Jennifer Gramith was supposed to be in the classroom today, but we had to reschedule, and we are going to have that class in a couple of weeks. So not next week, the week after next. That was the time that we had available, first date available for her. And I'm looking forward to that class because we're going to be talking about the fillers in supplements and what to look for. So that's also important. So today I want you to be open to hearing whatever it is that resonates with you. And if it resonates with you, I want to encourage you to explore it a little. If it sounds like you, if you have any questions, if you would like to ask me a question, maybe it's going to trigger a conversation that you've had in your head, or maybe a feeling that you've had of not feeling enough, not feeling that you're worthy. And trust me when I tell you, I had those feelings my entire life until I started looking at those feelings. I ignored those feelings for a long time, and I did the best that I could with whatever I had, just like my parents did, and their parents did, and the parents before then. So there has to be a level of compassion for ourselves and for those who have hurt us. And when I tell you I choose to share the story of how wonderful my parents were or are, it's a choice that I can make. I could also choose to tell you all the rotten things they did, all the terrible things that scarred me. But you know what? That's not what this class is about. This class is about embracing the child within. It's about embracing this life that we might look at it as a negative, but everything in it was created to give you purpose. And I would love for you to share this with your friends, with your family, share it live so that they can watch it with you if they choose to do it. Because sometimes when we address these wounds, it is healing. We may think in our head that it is going to be painful and difficult, and it might be, but you're still harboring that thought in your subconscious mind everywhere you go, and you are dragging it with you as if it were a 100-pound sack of potatoes. Instead, it's a 100-pound sack of memories that aren't supporting us. So one and done, get it done. I don't like having things that I'm dragging with me. I like to sit with them. I like to, and I've always been that way. But I just didn't know how to utilize that skill. I didn't have the tools that I have today that I am giving to you for free so that you can choose how you want the rest of your life to be. So if you've had an emotional, like a childhood of emotional neglect, or a childhood where you were beaten, abused, molested, or maybe you had even a great childhood, but you didn't get what you wanted from your parents, whatever that means to you. For me, I choose to say that I have a beautiful childhood, and my parents did the best that they could with what they had. They were both young when they married, and they're still married at 70 years. And I celebrate that. I celebrate that. But do you just want to be married, or do you just want to exist in life? Or do you want to make the best of what was given to you and make it even better? So that's the question. That's the question I want to ask you, and that you get to answer today. So before we go through the emotional neglect, or your childhood emotional neglect, or maybe you just need to deal with something that has happened in the past that you haven't been able to release, whatever it is for you. But specifically, I'm going to talk about the emotional neglect or the abuse or the childhood trauma. So when you were a child. So let me tell you about the brain. The brain doesn't know the difference between do and don't. And this was very difficult for me to understand because I would focus on what I didn't want. So I thought that that was enough. It is not enough. You need to focus on what you want. Because if you focus on what you don't want, your brain doesn't know the difference between do or don't. It just knows what it's focusing on. So if you eliminate don't want, what you don't want, you're just focusing on whatever it is you don't want. So eliminate don't. And let's say, I don't want to be miserable. So you focus on, I want to be happy. Eliminate, I don't want to be sick. I don't want to get sick. You eliminate the don't, and then you focus on, I want to be healthy. I've got my cells in my body are really strong. So that is how you work with your brain when you're trying to create what you want. So then it doesn't know the difference between the past or the future. It just knows now. So when you're thinking, which leads to a feeling, which leads to an action, but when you're thinking about something that happened in the past, that's called depression because your brain is thinking it's happening now. So if it happened in the past, every time you recall it without resolution, you are re-injuring yourself. That's why you're depressed. So you get to rewrite it, deal with it, whatever it is, because if you continue to think about it, ruminate on it, the body is constantly being attacked by that memory because it just thinks it's happening now. If you're focusing on the future and the future, it hasn't happened, it's just a thought in your head once again. First it's a thought, then it's a feeling, then it's an action. And if you're focusing on your future that hasn't happened and you're creating a story of what hasn't happened, then your body is acting as if it's happening. And that's called anxiety. So that's the second part of the brain that you guys need to know, that it doesn't understand that as soon as you're recalling it in your brain, you're depending on how you recall it. If you're recalling to help somebody because it's a lesson learned and you're trying to help somebody, then what happens is that if you're not doing that, then what happens is you're going to re-injure yourself. But if you're doing it for a purpose and a reason and you've dealt with it, good for you, because now you're helping others. Then the third part is that it doesn't know fact versus fiction. And I always give this as an example because it's true. When my dad used to watch boxing, he would watch a boxing match and he would bob and weave and he would watch it. Why? Because his body was responding to what he was seeing. So it's very important that you protect what you see, what you hear, because your body will respond accordingly. So those are three things, little facts of your brain that as a child, we develop some things that coping skills, and it's just to keep us alive. And that becomes our ego. But we're not going to be talking about that, not much today. So the fourth thing when it comes to our brain is that the brain doesn't know who you're angry with. It only knows that it is angry. It assumes it's you. So it doesn't know who it is, who you're angry with. It assumes it's you. So let's recap. Brain doesn't know the difference between do or don't. It doesn't know the difference between past or future. It doesn't know the difference between fact or fiction. And it doesn't know who it's angry with. It assumes it's you. So as a child, you have all these things working in your brain that we don't know about. And what happens is our coping skills can become our illnesses. They can become it could become something that coping mechanisms like escaping, overeating, drinking, addiction. That's how the body will eventually, as a child, if you don't cope with these things, or if the things that were keeping you alive, like I'm being abused, so I'm going to blank out and I'm not going to even think about it. Or my parents are arguing again, and I'm just going to black out. I'm going to numb up. I'm going to do whatever. I don't want to think about it again. That protected you as a child. But as an adult, it's going to keep you from seeing life in its purest form, in its real form. And it will also keep you from relationships. It will keep you from the job that you want. It'll keep you, you might be very, very, very functional, and you might have a great career, but you may not have great relationships, or you may not achieve what you want to achieve in your career, because all these things that were used to protect you as a child and kept you alive are now hurting you as an adult. So when you are a child, and you have this neglect in some form, some childhood trauma or anything to that effect, then that is the thoughts that run through your mind. And you've heard me talk about how everything that you see between the moment you're conceived, or feel from the moment you're conceived to the moment, like around 7 or so, it becomes recorded in your mind. It becomes recorded, and those recordings become part of your subconscious mind. So whether you know it or not, all those coping mechanisms, all those things that you ignore to look at, all those things that are going on are in your brain. They're part of your subconscious mind. And about 85%, 90% of our subconscious mind pretty much runs us. When we're in our conscious mind, when we're learning something, when we're dancing, and when we're creating, when you're in your creative mind, that's when you are in your now, in your presence moment. But the other 90%, your subconscious mind is breathing and walking and chewing gum and hosting a classroom, whatever it is. You can do that once it's part of your subconscious mind. But here's the statistics on that. 90% of the thoughts in your brain are repetitive, 90%. And 80% are negative. Again, part of your subconscious, part of your childhood memories, whether there were traumas, you stuck your finger in the light socket and you got shocked. Those are things, a dog bit you. Those are things that are intended to protect you, so that when you are growing up, you won't go to that dog because it might bite you. So it's learned experiences. So I hope that we're all in the same. And if you have any questions, type in a Q and I will address it, and share this video with everybody that you can, because the algorithms are blocking it. So if you are on, I cannot see you. So you can put an emoji, a like it, or follow, whatever it is that you can do to raise up the algorithms, or bypass the algorithms. Okay. So when you are experiencing some childhood trauma, neglect, whatever it is, then you're going to develop some skills. Your parent could be there, might not be there, might give you everything that you need, the best schools, the nicest car, but they're not emotionally there. Remember, if emotional abuse would have blood attached to it, then maybe somebody would recognize it as abuse. When you're neglected, if it had some form of blood mark or a bruise or anything like that. But that's an emotional trauma, whether you were abandoned by your father or your mother or someone you loved, that gets kind of like embedded in there. And I once heard a priest say that when a child is abandoned by their father, it leaves a hole in their soul. But the problem is how we fill it. I have the solution for how to fill it, but some people don't get to that. And of course, I'm talking about a higher power, the power of God, the power that is in us, and we can tap into it at any time. So we might develop some coping mechanisms where, oh, I don't need to hear their acceptance or praise. So I'm just going to praise myself because everything I do is great. So you might develop feelings of grandeur. I'm better than everybody. Or you might develop experiences that you feel that nothing you do is good, which was my situation. Didn't matter what I did. It was never good enough. You might develop people-pleasing techniques. You want the approval and acceptance. And so those are all symptoms of, even if you had a great childhood, maybe there was something that you didn't get that was missing. So when it comes to understanding and embracing it, sitting with it, just sitting with it, not to re-injure yourself. And yeah, it might be a little painful at first, not to re-injure yourself, but to get to that place where you can understand it as a loving adult and be able to rewrite it. And when I say rewrite it, I mean choose your words and your memories about the situation so that they benefit you. I was just recently in a meeting, and someone had said that they were not only traumatized, but they were traumatized over and over and over again. Now, as a child, that's understandable that you feel out of control. But as you become an adult, believe it or not, we are drawn to those feelings and those emotions that are brought from the other person because that's what was familiar from our childhood. So we might be drawn to an abuser, a narcissist. We might be drawn to someone who's neglectful. And my first marriage, I was drawn to someone who was neglectful. Not only did they end up walking away from me, they also walked away from my biological children. And so those are things that you can go back to and see as you maybe journal about it, as you try to unravel why it is you do what you do, without shaming yourself, blaming, faulting yourself, and feeling like, oh, something is wrong with me. So if you're ready for that, then continue listening, because we're going to be talking about that today. We're going to be talking about that. And I want to encourage you to do whatever you can to embrace health, whatever that looks like for you, and embrace the ways that you can learn about yourself like I did. I had to learn about myself. I had to. And I didn't feel like I got to. I felt like I had to. I had no other choice but to try to figure out why I do what I do. And there are moments that I'm given such an awareness of, wow, this is something that I could use for myself. I'll stumble upon a technique, or I'll search for something. And that's where we all get to be curious about our healing, curious about our healing. So the question to you is, what are these battles that you keep fighting? What are the battles that, like the over and over trauma? Because as a child, you're a victim. But as you get to be older, you're a victim no more. Then you're choosing these things as a part of your life, not to shame or blame, fault or duty, not of that, but it's just an awareness that I do this to myself. I keep doing this to myself. The first guy I dated, broke up with him. I'm just this hypothetical. This is not my story, but first guy I dated beat me up, broke up with him. Second guy I dated beat me up, broke up with him. Third guy I dated beat me up. Why do I keep getting beaten up? Well, we keep attracting what we are unresolved in us. So if you don't deal with the first person that beats you up, then the second person will beat you up because the same problem is in there. Those are the thoughts that keep revolving around your mind and your belief system about yourself and your worth and what you deserve. But the moment you rewrite those words and you rewrite the program, that's the moment by which you start the healing process. So in the do-don't scenario that I said, instead of saying, I don't get anything I want, or I don't want to be a victim, then I am victorious. I am victorious. And this is why I do what I do. I want to make sure that we all have different ways that we can heal our body. And one of the ways that I want to share with you is through the Super Gut workshop, because there are bacterias, microbes in our gut that communicate with our brain, communicate with our body. And we need to get into alignment by bringing the healthy bacteria. Imagine inviting a bunch of convicts and crooks and embezzlers into your home. They'll soon take over your home. You got to get them out of your home and bring good people in to be at peace. Our microbes, our microbiome is that part of our universe. And so I want to tell you that starting August 1st, and I need to ask Robert, when is the early registration done? But for people who register early, we're going to do a 6-week course with Super Gut. So we're doing a 6-week course with Dr. William Davis, and this could help repair your brain, depression, anxiety, because if your gut is in balance, then it will send the right signals, the right kind of compassion and love to your brain. So we start on August 1st and we end September 5th. And we are going to meet every Tuesday night. We're recording the sessions. So if you can't be a part of it, if you live in another country and you can't be a part of it, no worries. You will have access to the recordings. Everybody will have access to the recording that attends the workshop. And on Tuesday nights from 7 to 9 Eastern time, we will meet with Dr. Davis, Dr. William Davis, and he's going to help us with the do's and don'ts of our microbiome and the things that we eat. And so the early registration ends June 1st. Oh, it ended. At the end of June, sorry, July 1st. So it ends July 1st. It'll be done. So I had to go through my brain. I'm like in now mode. I'm in now mode. Okay. So I want to tell you that people who register early, so you still have till July 1st, which is right around the corner. So June 30th, everybody who registers first will have 5 of the yogurt. We're going to make cultured yogurt, cultured dairy, cultured coconut, whatever you want to call it. We're going to have 5 of these we're going to be giving away. Lavelli is giving away 5 of these. They have partnered with us and this event. We also are giving away 1 digestive breath tester, which I've been using. Oh my gosh, I have learned so much about my diet and how my body responds to food just by breathing in this. And if you go to my website at whenyouneedafriend.com, if you don't want to wait and you want to get it right away, this will tell you if you have hydrogen or methane in your microbiome in your gut. And it will tell you what the measurements are and what to do about it. And you can track all your food. It's amazing. It's amazing. And we're giving away 1. So the giveaways are going to be for the people who register early. So take advantage of that. Another way that you can work with your mindset and the tragedies or traumas or neglect, whatever you want to call it in your life, is on November 3rd and 4th, Dr. Bradley Nelson is coming back to Florida, and we're going to do not just the body code, not just the emotion code. We're going to be doing a 2-day workshop of both the emotion code and the body code. That's typically a 3-day, like that's 2 courses, but instead we're going to do 1 course, and we're excited. So go to whenyounneedafriend.com, click on the pop-ups to learn more, register right away so that you can take advantage of the early registration prices and get your name in the link in the giveaways. So 5 of the Lavelli's yogurt makers, and which is something that you're going to need. You're going to be making a super gut yogurt, okay? Super repairing gut microbiome yogurt, and you won't need it. You don't have to get it. You can use other things, but this is the easiest way to do it, since we are, always so busy. Okay, then so take advantage of the early registration. I believe that you can save quite a bit of money, and I love a good deal. So, well, since I'm talking about this already, I might as well talk about my my sponsors and my website, whenyounneedafriend.com. Please make sure that you register. As you know, I am being blocked by social media, but we're still plugging away, hoping that you will share these videos and get this information out so that you can use the God-given gifts that you have to create the life that you want. So please go to whenyounneedafriend.com, subscribe to the website, and then like and follow me on all social media. And it's really easy. Once you go to the website, all my social media is there. So you can just click on it and sign up. Just click on it, sign up, and it'll take you there. Also, you can go to my sponsors page, support my sponsors like they are supporting the classroom. If it weren't for our sponsors and your generous donations, we would not be able to keep the lights on, pay the people that are helping, the team that is helping. I don't get paid, they do. And so I want to make sure that you understand that because of censorship, prices have gone up. So we need, even if it's $1 or $1,000 a month, or a one-time donation or recurring donation, whatever you can give of your time, talent, and treasure, that's called being an enrolled student in the classroom. Another way that you can do it is that you can help is with going into the Shop Now bag. And if you go to the Shop Now bag, you can get 15%, that's 15% off this beautiful little digestive measuring tool, so that you can start healing your microbiome. You can start figuring out how it's functioning. And so, so go to the Shop Now bag, and in that Shop Now bag, I have some affiliate programs, and it will help provide some support to the classroom, but it is through your generous donations as well that we can continue to grow and get this information out there, because I know you want to learn this so that you can change your life. So that being said, please help us by either your time, your talent, your treasure. And your time would be just sharing this. Your talent, if you have another talent that you can help spread the word, your PR firm, whatever it is, help us spread the good news. So I developed some techniques going back to what we're talking about, which is childhood trauma, neglect, whatever it is that you faced as a child. It clouds it, the glasses that you put on, it will cloud your vision. So just knowing how the brain works, and if you're just tuning in now, you just want to go to the beginning. I'm not going to repeat myself, but calling upon what you know about your brain and your brain power and how it sees the world through the filters by which you grew up as a child. And these coping mechanisms are part of the ego that kept you alive as a child, but now are hurting you as an adult. So some of the ways that you can help yourself grow and help that wounded child within you, because it's still in you. And by the way, if you go back to your first memory of being wounded and that you can remember and recall, or maybe it's a story that someone told you because maybe you were too young or you blocked it out. Go back to that age, and it's usually before the age of 7, maybe a little bit later, but usually between the age of 1 and 7 or 0 and 7, and go back to that when you felt that emotion, when you felt that pain, when you felt that, go back to that age. And that is who takes over whenever you find yourself in a stressful situation. That child that protected you back then, that didn't have the support and the love and compassion that you crave today, is the one that steps in and says, I got this, but you're just a child acting like an adult. So getting to become aware of what it is, acknowledge how you're feeling, because many children who are brought up by narcissists, neglectful parents, whatever it is, they will feel that their emotions don't matter. Don't cry. Don't feel that way. Oh, I've given you everything. Why do you feel like I don't give you enough? Those are the messages that we now internalize. And those are the words that we tell ourselves as we continue to grow and become adults. And we continue those words of attack and abuse of ourselves, that doubt in ourselves. But when we become aware that that's what we're doing, we can change it. We can acknowledge, why am I such a people pleaser? Why do I ignore my emotions? What are the emotions that I'm feeling right now? And perhaps maybe you can get a list of emotions and just point at it. Yeah, maybe I feel this way. Maybe I feel this way. And start learning how to feel again. Because many times what happens, especially if you're an empathic child like me, who felt all these emotions and didn't know what to do with them, perhaps you need to relearn how to feel again. Stop numbing with food, with alcohol, with drugs, with sex, with pornography, with people pleasing. Those are ways that we numb ourselves so that we don't have to deal with that you still deal with, whether you like it or not, whether you know it or not. It is the filter by which you see the world, the way you see yourself, the way you see reality. Step number 2, consider. If you cannot become aware of your emotions, or maybe you have the emotion, but you're trying to just like shun the emotion and go, oh, I can't feel that way. Big boys don't cry. Big girls are strong. Whatever it is that you were told as a child that you continue to tell yourself, then you get to consider, because people that have been neglected emotionally are constantly trying to help others with their emotions. And they feel and understand what the other person is feeling. So if you cannot come up with your own emotions and deal with your own emotions, maybe you can identify the emotion within you that you cannot have yet, and imagine that it's happening to someone else, and now you can feel that compassion towards them, which is really you. So if that's, I don't know if I'm explaining this well enough. And again, if you have any questions, you can type in a Q and write down your questions. And from time to time, I'll look down to see if there is a question. So type in a Q, write your questions down. If something I'm saying is not clear, or you would like some, you have your own question about maybe what you're experiencing, this is a free life coaching session. So consider that perhaps how somebody else is feeling, you could identify with somebody else and listen to the advice that you're giving someone else and internalize it and use it on yourself. So consider the fact that what you're seeing in others could be what you're experiencing for yourself. And the only way you can experience this is to see it in others. Because I always say that if you are a hammer, the world is a nail. That's all it is a nail. You're just going to do whatever it is that you know to do. But if you consider that there's other tools that you can use to build your life, then consider that one if you're not able to open your emotions. But that is very crucial. Another way that you can do it is that you can journal. How do I feel right now? And journal it like, when my husband and I, we do some communication, we journal with one another. We haven't done it in a while because we've gotten really good at explaining how we feel with one another. But there was a time when we first started this practice that we would, to help each other understand the other person's perspective, we would say, this is how I feel. And you can compare the emotion. Let's say, for example, I am joyful. I am joyful. Like Christmas morning, listening to the kids open their gifts and squealing the words, this is how I feel. The level of joy is a 10. And it feels like, it smells like cookies baking in the oven. And so you start trying to give an image to the emotion. And again, you can do this by yourself, or you can use a coach. I'm a certified life coach. You can go to whenyounneedafriend.com, click on About Lily, and it will show you how you can get a hold of me and how you can request coaching sessions, packages, because I believe cheaper by the dozen. If you invest on yourself, I will invest in you as well. So if you can't do it by yourself, I can help as a coach, or somebody else can help as a coach. So number 3 is accepting what you can accept. Accept what you can accept. And if you cannot accept it, then can you change it? Now, when we're dealing with the past, you can't change it. So acceptance of what is, and then sitting with a journal. And we have the 4 questions of responsibility. You can find them on the page on whenyounneedafriend.com. You can go through that exercise and you're able to see how this past that was so yucky was truly a gift with ugly wrapping paper. And when you unravel it, you will see how it could have blessed you, or it has blessed you. It all depends where you're at in your journey. But regardless, accept what you cannot change, which is your past, and rewrite it so that it is more compassionate, more loving for you. And again, sometimes this is difficult because we don't want to accept the past, but it's done. It's over with. All we can do is use that experience as fuel to ignite your future, to ignite your now, and give you the power that you need to create what you want, which is the life of your dreams. So that's step number 3. Number 1 is awareness. Number 2 is consideration, and how you can become aware about people who are hurting you, or the fact that maybe you're hurting somebody. Become aware that if you cannot, consider that if you cannot relate to the emotion within yourself, maybe you can relate to the emotion that somebody else is having, and then give yourself that same wisdom for yourself. 3rd is accept, which you cannot change. Number 4 is willingness to forgive. We do a lot of classes on forgiveness, and I want to encourage you to go to my channel and look for the topic for YouTube. You can, I don't know if I have a forgiveness playlist, but maybe I should. I do a lot of classrooms. Just put in forgiveness in the little search button and see what comes up. Watch it. Start your journey. Be willing to forgive. Because I don't know, for those of you who don't know the classroom, and maybe this is the first time, when I end the classroom, I always say, I wish you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever, right? So those love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance, that came from my journey of really, truly forgiving a very painful situation. And the thought of what that person had done was just destroying me. Because every time you think it, you are injuring yourself. They're not, you are. The situation happened, it's done with, it's gone. And so what you get to do is that you get to send that person. Even at the beginning, it's, oh, I send them love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Even if it's at the beginning, it's like that. But eventually, everything you release out into the universe comes back to you. So you will feel the love, the peace, the joy, and the abundance that you so desperately crave. We so desperately crave. So the willingness to forgive, I've done a lot of classes on that. And again, could be done through coaching, could be done with yourself. I've got my 90-day challenge to self-love ebook that I wrote. When you subscribe, you get a copy of that. So just make sure that you continue to move closer to forgiveness every step you take. And then repair. Like I said, do the work. It's, some people don't want to forgive because they don't want to let somebody into their life. But that's not what forgiveness is all about. You're talking about trust. Trust versus forgiveness are two different little animals. So trust is up to the individual to earn your trust. It takes a lifetime to build it and a moment to break it. And they have to build that trust again. You may never have that person back in your life. But when you recall their memory, it doesn't make your heart or your gut go, "Urgh," because you're sending them love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. And it will come back to you. So do the work. And there is techniques that you can do, which you could talk to your inner child. And that is something that I can help in a private coaching session where you can talk to that inner child and visit that situation, that emotional situation. Sometimes you can get a picture of that moment when you were a child, that age, around that age. And if you don't have pictures of yourself around that age when your trauma happened or prior to or after the trauma, you can create a picture or find someone that looks like you. And you can talk to that image as you wished you would have been talked to yourself. You could do that. Or you can get a stuffed animal and talk to the stuffed animal as if you wish it would have been talked to you. And remember, what you speak out into someone else comes back to you. So you're not just speaking, you're also hearing it for yourself. And then the goal is to speak to yourself through that inner bonding, which is Dr. Margaret Paul's work of inner bonding. That's a powerful tool that I use a lot when I'm coaching. Can you do it yourself? Absolutely, you can do it yourself, but you need to learn how to do it. It's the steps of calling on the willingness to dive into that situation, the willingness to ask a higher power to see yourself of where you were, that mind's eye image of yourself, and be able to see you and be able to speak to you. So that is a technique that you can do it. But if you need any help, I am here to support you. So again, learn about personal growth, learn about how I can create the life that I want. And one of those tools is coming to the body code, emotion code, the emotion code and body code seminar. And that's November 3rd and 4th in Cape Canaveral, Florida. Dr. Bradley Nelson is going to teach us all, not just the body code or not just the emotion code, but one seminar with both. It's a 2-day workshop or seminar that is going to teach us both of these techniques that will empower you for the rest of your life. It will allow you to dive deep, because if you don't want to go through all the emotional baggage all over again, you can learn how to do this by tapping into your subconscious mind. And if you want to learn more about Dr. Bradley Nelson, I am going to put the link in this description after the class today. I'm going to put the link of that. I'm going to put the link of the Super Gut. And remember, you're going to be, if you register early, which is early registration ends June 30th, you will earn a chance to win one of the digestive testers by Food Marble. It will test to see if you have methane or hydrogen in your breath, which tells you if you have SIBO or SIFO or anything else. You can also win Labelli's 5 chances to win. You'll be one of 5 chances to win Labelli yogurt maker, so that you can start making a cultured microbiome yogurt. So whether it's milk, dairy, or a plant-based, you can create it. You can create it. So those are different ways. Do the work, do the repair. That is the step number 6. Learn different tools that may work better for you. For the longest time, I didn't get certain tools. I just didn't get it. I wasn't ready. But then I kept looking and searching for other things. And then eventually, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And how wonderful to put yourself in a situation that you're ready to be a student. And the universe and God just knows how to present this to you, how to present this incredible power to you of learning and growing and changing whatever it is, whether it's journaling, going through the process of learning a new technique, speaking to your inner wounded child or to a picture, and saying the things that you long to hear. But that could only happen if there's awareness, a consideration to rewrite the program, accept what you can't change, rewrite the program, willingness to forgive. There's all the steps where you can learn and grow, and we're offering so many different tools that you can learn and grow from. So please go to whenyounneedafriend.com, click up on the pop-ups, check out the link below, the links below. So those 2 programs that you could possibly join, one of them is virtual. Anyone around the world can join us. The other one is in person, and so anyone in the world can join us, but you will need to pay for your own flight and your transportation, hotel, if you don't live in the area. But if you live in Florida, Brevard County, right in our backyard, Dr. Bradley Nelson is coming. So it's up to you. It's up to you to decide how you want to create the life of your dreams. Focus on what you want. It took me a long time to understand that. I was focusing on what I didn't want, and I created more of what I didn't want. Focus on what you want, and you will create what you want. Release lack of forgiveness. Be grateful. That is the kryptonite of fear, is gratitude. Understand that underneath all of this, or overarching all of this, is fear. That's what drives. But if you choose love, that's the sweet spot. Choose love for yourself, compassion for yourself. And then all of a sudden, this childhood that used to bring you pain in your heart, which is where that disease starts, it will set you free. And if you think you don't want to forgive because the other person doesn't deserve it, it's not about the other person, because they're done. They're gone. They don't even think about it. But you deserve forgiveness. You deserve forgiveness, whatever it is that happened to you. You deserve it. So choose love, choose compassion, and take great care of you and your present, because it will translate to your children and your children's children. So please remember, you're in choice. You can choose to love yourself and embrace what you don't want to embrace and set yourself free. And please remember, we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
Okay, since I did not look down and I see some comments, and I'm just going to look down real quick to see if there's any cues. Okay. Wonderful. I'm glad. Thank you, Regina, for joining us and making a comment. Make sure all of you share this, because this information, you see, the pharmaceutical industry wants to keep you all drugged up. But the reality is that you can make your life better by choosing to love yourself and choosing to deal with whatever your past has and creating a different future. So I love you all. Thank you so much for watching. Please share, like, and follow. Do everything you can to help grow the classroom. We'll see you. Bye. Thank you. Bye.